What's going on, fam? Today we have a full-on workout. So we're gonna be doing the exact workout that I am doing here today. I'm gonna have modifications available. We'll be getting into some single arm kettlebell clean and jerks. We'll get into some steel mace 360s or kettlebell halos if you don't happen to have a steel mace. We'll do some curtsy lunges, and we'll even get into some single arm front rack carries. And by the end of all this, we should have a full workout wrapped up in under 30 minutes time. So go ahead and grab your kettlebell. Let's get ready to work. All right, so for part A of this, we're going to do 8 per side single arm kettlebell clean and jerks. Immediately into our kettlebell halos, we will do 6 to 8 per side there, and we'll take a 60-second rest after that. After this first round, rather than doing the kettlebell halos, I'm going to do steel mace 360s, but for those of you who don't have a steel mace, I wanted to show you the kettlebell halo first. So let's go ahead and get after it. Starting with 8 single arm kettlebell clean and jerks on whatever side you would like first. We'll get started in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Hike the bell, into the front rack position, up we go. There's 1. There's 2. There's 5. 6. 7, one more time. Take 1 swing to switch hands. Right into 8 the other side. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. 4. 5. 6. 8. Okay, so now we're going straight into 6 to 8 per side of our kettlebell halos. For this, we're gonna grab our kettlebell, we'll turn it upside down, we'll go ahead and draw these big circles with the hands down by the base of our neck, elbows up high towards the sky. Bring it up, side down here, up and over the left shoulder, framing your face. Elbows go nice and high towards the sky, keep the rib cage pulled down, go to the opposite shoulder and back to the front, that's 1. Repeating the process. There's 2. Nice, slow and controlled, don't rush it. There's 3, get those hands down by the base of the neck. 4, 5, 6, 7. One more time, this direction. There's 8, switching directions. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. 6, 7, and there's 8. Once you're done with 8 per side there, or 6 per side based on what you chose, we then have 60 seconds of rest. Now really quickly, you probably noticed this workout may not be the most beginner-friendly workout. I do have other beginner-friendly workouts on my channel. Today, we are just hanging out and getting after it. With that said, if you're someone who is having a hard time with your kettlebell cleans, one thing I wanted to let you know, the hand insertion is really important on this one. So one pointer that I have for you is whenever you're doing your kettlebell clean, get that hand insertion all the way through the handle here. You wanna make sure that handle positioned at a 45-degree angle across the heel of the palm. In order to make that happen, there's something really critical that we need to do. What we need to do for that is we need to get this kettlebell right inside the root of the fingers, and then we go to make this hand insertion at the top. You rotate your thumb up towards the sky, and you actually punch your hand through the handle here, deep into the corner. And once you are deep into the corner, that will rest nice at this 45-degree angle across the heel of the palm. It'll make for a much smoother transition to the front rack without banging your forearm. Our rest period is almost up already though. That is 60 seconds, meaning we gotta get right back to work. So here we go, 8 more reps per side, single arm kettlebell clean and jerks. We're getting right after it, here we go. There's 1. There's 2. 8, switching sides, 1 swing in between, switch it over, Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. So now you have 6 to 8 per side of your kettlebell halos. I have started my steel mace. If you have a steel mace and want to join me on some 360s, you are welcome to. 10 per side if you're using a steel mace. Here we go. If you're using a steel mace, make sure you switch to which hand is on top. Point that top finger, that's the direction the mace head goes. All right, and just like that, we earned a nice 60-second rest period. So for those of you who find yourself struggling on the jerk portion of that kettlebell clean and jerk, there's one thing that I want to point out, and that is that a jerk is a lot different than a push press, in the sense that maybe some of you might find that your shoulders are getting really fatigued because you're pressing every single rep. The difference between a push press and a jerk is that on a push press, we have one dip and one leg drive where we come straight up as soon as we drive our legs. In a jerk, we have two. Meaning we have an initial dip, we drive coming all the way up onto our tiptoes, squeezing our butt cheeks to the top, and then as we're pressing up, we actually push ourselves underneath the weight here, catching with the elbow fully locked out before standing up. So while your shoulders may get fatigued, they shouldn't be smoked like they would be if we were doing presses. Make sure that you get that second dip, and the key to that is once you're up on your tiptoes here, you slap the ground with your heels. Here, once you slap the ground with your heels, that'll allow you to catch with that elbow locked out. That way you're not pressing it out, which will save your triceps and make for a much more enjoyable experience. All that just said, we have 3 seconds left. I just talked to my rest period. We're going right into round number 3 here. We have 2 more rounds to go, by the way. We're doing 4 rounds total. Here we go, 8 per side. Up we go. Here's 1. 2. There's 3. Switching sides, 1 hand swing, here we go. 1, 2, 3. There's 8. Going into 6 to 8 per side of your halos if you have a kettlebell. If you have a steel mace, you can join me on 360s. Again, 10 reps per side if you're going for the steel mace 360. Here we go. Straight into it. Switching hands on top if you're using a mace. All right, 3 rounds down, 1 round to go, 60 seconds of rest. Now with this here, last thing I wanted to point out on the kettlebell clean side of things is going to be the downward phase of the movement. Because anytime we have a downward phase in a kettlebell clean, a swing, or a snatch, there's this concept known as connection that is extremely important. And connection just refers to exactly that. It is the connection between the forearm and the hip on the descent. So in other words, we should make contact between our forearm and our hip before we ever send our hips back. And one of the most common mistakes I see on the kettlebell clean is folks will drop that kettlebell from the top, they'll immediately let their hips send back, and there's no connection. That's a problem, because our hand sweeps down too low, it puts stress on our lower back, and we steal ourselves of all this power from our legs which we want for our next rep. So just make sure that you're waiting and being patient for that forearm to make contact with the hip here before sending your hips back. Second thing would be on the kettlebell halo. So on the kettlebell halo side of things, it's really key that we make sure that we have our elbows nice and tight to our head when that bell passes behind you. You should have your hands all the way down by the base of your neck when that bell's coming up and around. We want to avoid this arching and instead squeeze the glutes, tuck the hips, keep the rib cage pulled down. If you make that happen, you're going to have a super clean kettlebell halo in both directions. Now we are down to, I probably just talked to my rest period. Someone hit the pause button during that. I'm gonna say that's probably about 60 seconds though. So last round, here we go, 8 per side, single arm kettlebell clean and jerks, 3, 2, 1, right to work, here we go. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. All right, switching sides with one hand swing, right to the cleans on their side. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. 5. 6. 7. There's 8. Going to 6 to 8 per side on your kettlebell halos, or 10 per side on the steel mace 360 if you are joining me there. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, right into it. Switching hands on top, you're using a steel mace. Going right into it. Keep those elbows tight to the head. Rib cage down. And just like that, we have 4 rounds down. We'll take a nice 2-minute breather before part 2 of this workout. Now, by the way, if you are enjoying this workout and you want more workouts like this, do me a favor, send me a text info at the number down below, the bottom of the video here. And if you shoot me a text, we can have a little chat about what your goals are. We can see if we have any program options that are a good fit. The good news is this workout feels like it's on the challenging side. We have some more beginner-friendly options too, but if you are ready to dive into the deep end and you like this pace, we certainly have options for that as well. So just shoot me a text with the word info and we will chat about it. Now with that said, I'm gonna hit a quick pause button here on my camera because if I don't, this might just cut off. You might not be able to see the rest of the video. So quick little break here, take the remainder of your 2-minute rest. We'll join right back in for part 2, which is going to be some curtsy lunges and some single arm front rack carries. And we are back for part 2. Now for part 2 of this workout, we're going to do single arm front rack curtsy lunges straight into some single arm front rack carries. Reverse that, front rack carries first into the curtsy lunges. So with our front rack carries, it's gonna be really simple. We're gonna have our kettlebell in the front rack position. We're going to march in place for 6 reps per side here. Once we hit 6 per side, we go straight into your curtsy lunges, which you're still going to hold in this right hand here, and then do 3 curtsy lunges per leg. So it'll be 1, 3 per leg for a total of 6 before switching and repeating that exact same process of the front rack carry march into the curtsy lunges on the other side. All that to say, go ahead and grab your kettlebell and get ready to do some work. I'm thinking, yeah, what the heck, I'll stick with this weight here. We have 3 rounds on this one, 60 seconds rest in between each. We're gonna jump right into it with our single arm front rack carry. I personally am gonna go left hand first. Let's go ahead and hike that up, bring it to the front rack position, 6 marches per side. So we have 1, keeping the shoulder parallel to the floor, 2, don't get ahead of me, 3, knee above the hip, 4, 5, 6. Keep the bell up in the same position, going into our curtsy lunges, stepping that back knee behind the front foot here for a total of 6 reps. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. Swing the bell over to the other hand. Once you're there, bring it to the front rack position, 6 steps per side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6. Go right to the lunges. We have 1. Keep those hips squared up. 1, 2, 1 more each side. 3, lower the bell, and we get a nice little break here. 60 seconds of rest. We have 2 more rounds on this one. Now the big thing I want to chat about with part B here, when you do those single arm front rack carries, it's really important to make sure you're not leaning to the side. One of those common mistakes, people will rack this bell up and they'll end up leaning away from the weight like this here. Excuse me, what we want to do is keep our shoulders parallel to the floor so we get this anti-lateral flexion benefit of the exercise, which really engages the opposite oblique, that of the kettlebell, a lot. So make sure you're keeping those shoulders parallel to the floor and get those knees all the way above the hip on the front rack carry. I'm gonna spend about 30 seconds here trying to catch my breath. I've been talking a lot in between sets, starting to feel it here. So go ahead and get after it. We have 2 more sets and we'll have this all wrapped up. 20 seconds left. Take a few deep breaths. And then get ready to work because we have our front rack march coming up. Straight into our curtsy lunges. We have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Rack that kettlebell up. Once we're here, we'll march it out. There's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 per leg on the curtsy lunges. There's 1. Step that back knee all the way behind that front foot. 3. Single swing over the other side. Rack it up. March it out. There's 1. 2. 3 per side in the curtsy lunge. Set it on down. And just like that, 2 sets down, 1 to go. 60 seconds of rest. Things are getting tough. 1 last set to go. Now, on those curtsy lunges, one thing I want to point out is that it's really important that you actually keep yourself all squared up to the direction that you are facing. So if you happen to be staying squared up, this way here, what I'm saying is that we want to make sure that our hips stay square. So if you notice that this hip opens up like a gate, you're no longer square with your hips. It's going to put a lot of stress on this front knee here. So you step that back leg through, think about taking your knee just to the outside edge of that front foot here. And once you're in this position with hips squared up, now you know you've got what you're looking for with this exercise. Have about 20-ish seconds left. Catching our breath here for the last 20 seconds before going into our 3rd and final round. Almost have this all wrapped up, ready to go, fam. A couple deep breaths here. I don't know about you, but I'm a sweaty mess. We have about 5 seconds here. We have 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and rack that kettlebell up in the front rack position. Step it out 6 times per side. 1, shoulders parallel to the floor. 2, 2, 3, 4. Don't get ahead of me. So, all right, 3 per side. There's 1. Keep those hips squared up. 1, 2, 2, 3. One more. Swing it on over to the other side. Rack it on up. March it out. There's 1. 2. Almost lost my balance. 3. Dig it out. Don't get ahead of me. All right, going right into our curtsy lunges. There's 1, 2, 2, 3. One more. 3. Lower it on down, and just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have wrapped up a full workout. Another 30 minutes time. Again, if you want more workouts like this, so go ahead and send me a text message here at this phone number below with the word info. We'll chat about some program options, and I'll see you on the next one.